Yeah. Run it back nation, what is good? It is your boy DJ Eastwood. Run it back Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros. My super chat jar is floating in space because I've changed the zoom on the camera. There we go. There it is. Shout out to everybody in here. Thanks for being here. Obviously, I would have loved to do a post-game live directly after the Sixers game in Toronto last night. But I was DJing a Halloween party, and I got one tonight also. So my option B was to wake up this morning, watch the game, and do a post-game live at noon. But the thing is, I woke up at 12:30 p.m. So that happened. And then I was like, it's Saturday. I'll just take my time, rewatch the game, hang out, and then I'll do post-game live whenever the hell I feel like it. So thank you guys for being here, man. Hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel and you watch these shows all the time, that is what we call fraudulent behavior, and this is the No Fraud Zone. So subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell if you want notifications and you're not getting them because YouTube sucks. You got to go in there, turn them off, turn them back on to reset your notification thing. Because YouTube tries to send notifications to people based on when they're most likely to watch the channel, and it just doesn't work right. Other than that, man, yeah, let's get into it. Thank you, everyone, for being here. So the Philadelphia 76ers beat the Toronto Raptors 112-90. 112-90. And, before I rant and rave and overreact, the Toronto Raptors shot 38% from the floor. And that's bad. And even in the fourth quarter when they made those runs, we shut down those runs. Tyrese Maxey was obviously the major story of the game. And not just dropping 44 points, but when he dropped them, you know what I mean? I noticed twice in that fourth quarter when Toronto cut the lead to 6, and then they cut it back down to 10 a little bit later. Every single time they cut that lead down, Tyrese Maxey came back in the game and shut that noise down real quick. Real quick. But yeah, I mean, just to preface, he's not going to shoot 9 for 12 from 3 every game. He's not going to shoot whatever his percentage was from the floor. It was absolutely insane. Loved every second of it. But, we have a hot shooting night. Toronto has a bad shooting night. That's why playoff series are 7-game series. So that equaled them scoring 90 points. And it's defensively. Maxey dropped 44. James Harden didn't have a good game. Toronto is very good at making James Harden look like he looked last season, which is old, slow, and washed. I think Toronto, their strategy was, hey, Joel's out of the game. Let's double-team James Harden. Let's flash around screens. Let's make James Harden get rid of the ball. What they did not consider when designing said game plan was that Tyrese Maxey is very, very good. Nick Nurse, I give you credit all the time for being a good strategic coach. You didn't have very good strategy against Tyrese Maxey. Your strategy to take James out of the game worked. But finally, for the first time in, I feel like my whole life, the Philadelphia 76ers have multiple scoring options. And Maxey had 27 at halftime. He was 10 for 10 from the field. He was 7 for 7 from 3 at halftime. And I still think Nick Nurse didn't really adjust a whole lot. And, Maxey put the team on his shoulders. Rasan is already upset that I said Harden looks washed against the Raptors. Rasan, I respect you, my guy. But, it's okay. It's okay. Yes, James played a good game as far as distributing the ball. The Raptors do a good job of shutting him down. It's okay to say that. You don't have to be a super fanboy, and we're not allowed to say anything negative about James. It's okay to say He had 12 points in the game. He had 11 points in 33 minutes. Shot the ball 9 times. He had 5 turnovers. It's okay to say the Toronto Raptors shut down James Harden. I would say 11 points and 5 turnovers in 33 minutes is not a good performance from James. And your take on, he was penetrating and facilitating all night. Well, he only had 4 assists in 33 minutes, and James can average 10 any season he wants to because he's a very good facilitator. It's just factual. This is not a good game from James Harden. He got penetration certain times and when we needed it, and I liked it. He had a couple of and ones in the paint, couple of nice takes, couple of nice finishes, but Toronto did a great job of taking James out of the game. Tyrese Maxey stepped forward and dropped 44 points. The main story of this game, obviously you're playing without Joel Embiid. That, Joel with, what was it called, bro? What was it called? Injury management? When did that start, by the way? When did that become a thing? Injury management. Not Joel is out with a sore right knee. Not Joel is out with an injury. Not Joel injured his knee in the last game and he's out. Joel Embiid out with right knee soreness. Joel Embiid out with injury management. What does that mean? When did that start? Because I didn't hear an actual injury listed. So that's news to me. Hey, it's Saturday. Let me know in the chat what you're doing. I'm sipping a good old Saturday brewski. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, so Joel is out, and what that did for this team, I know the narrative now is that the Sixers are better without Joel Embiid. I said it on Twitter as a joke just to rile some people up. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to say the Philadelphia 76ers are better without Joel Embiid. It does, not having Joel on the floor speeds up the game. But that's not really why this game was that much different. Not having Joel on the floor speeds up the game. Not having Joel on the floor and having Doc Rivers and the Sixers coaching staff focus on him still as the number one option. Everything has to go through Joel. Everything has to go through the post. Speeds up the game. Changes the game. So, in a nutshell, I think this team can look just as good as they looked last night with Joel Embiid on the floor. Obviously, he's an amazing talent. But everybody, Doc Rivers and everybody else included, are learning what we've already been saying this whole season so far. This whole season, 5 games, 6 games. And, what Maxey was doing in the preseason, what Maxey did last year, James Harden being back in shape. Philly's got some smart fans. I'm just saying. It seems like every narrative we run with, it's, people say, all you guys do is get up here and complain. All you guys do is get up here and say things. You're not a coach. You're not this. You're not that. I don't try to be a coach. But I'm going to toot my own horn here. Every time this team is not performing, I feel like we as Philly fans know exactly why. And I feel like we as Philly fans say exactly why. And I feel like we as Philly fans just continue to be right about it. It's almost like Doc Rivers and the coaching staff, and I said the same thing about Brett Brown, it's almost like they watch the show. It's almost like they read Twitter. It's almost like they listen to the fans, and then they say, okay, that's what we should do? All right, we're going to do that now. And then it works. Shocker. Nick Sirianni, run the ball last season. Remember that? People and in the crowd holding up signs, run the ball. This is not rocket science. And the coach who thinks he's a genius and is overcomplicating a very, very simple game takes a step back and says, oh, it is simple. It is as simple as run the ball. It is as simple as Put more defenders on the floor. Put more athletes on the floor. Get faster in transition. Run the game from the perimeter in 2022. Run the game through James Harden and Tyrese Maxey in 2022. It shouldn't be shocking. Just funny that coaches have such an ego. And Doc Rivers specifically has actually the biggest ego I've ever seen in an NBA head coach. The biggest undeserving ego in an NBA head coach. And maybe in a professional coach across the board that I've ever seen. So he refuses to adjust because he thinks he's correct all the time. So Joel Embiid being out of this game was a good thing, not because we don't need Joel Embiid, not because Joel Embiid is not great. It was a good thing because it forced Doc Rivers to adjust. You know what I'm saying? It forced Doc Rivers to adjust. He's not going to adjust on his own. He's not going to change anything. If you randomly get in a situation where he has to, good things happen. So guess what you see in this game? You see, first of all, DeAnthony Melton starting. I love this. I love DeAnthony Melton starting. Again, you are the worst transition defense in the league. You are getting out-rebounded by everybody and their mom every night. For years now, we've been saying this team is unathletic, needs athletes on the floor, needs to speed up the game, needs to improve rebounding, transition defense, offensive rebounding, defense around the rim, all that. So because Joel is out, you are forced to switch up the lineup, and the decision to start DeAnthony Melton just ends up being a great one. Because DeAnthony Melton is an incredible athlete. At just 6'2", he has the heart of a lion. Dude just runs and runs and runs. And plucks loose balls. And swats people, cookies left and right. Plucking the ball from behind. On and on and on. Grabbing offensive rebounds. Grabbing defensive rebounds. Keeping plays alive. Just in the fourth quarter, off the top of my head, he drives and kicks to Tobias, who bricks the shot because, you know, Tobias is a brick. 5 for 14 in this game, 2 for 8 from 3. He kicks to Tobias, who bricks the shot. He gets the offensive rebound. He out-hustles the defender. He outworks the defender. He gets the offensive rebound and kicks it back to Tobias, cutting down the lane. That's keeping a play alive. That's second chance points, and that all comes from athletic hustle guys. PJ Tucker was everywhere in this game too, especially in the first half. Saw him all over the place. Got a lot of cheap foul calls on Pascal Siakam, who, by the way, gets treated like Giannis Antetokounmpo in Toronto. I mean, touch foul after touch foul after touch foul on this 6'11", elbow flailing player. And Pascal's, you know, he's a mini Giannis to me. You know, not the most finesse, not the most technically skilled basketball player. Lives and dies off of his natural athleticism and size, right? So, you know, touch foul left, touch foul right on Siakam in the first half. And then the second half, I don't want to say NBA referees point shave or try to control games or what have you, but suddenly in the second half of a game, Siakam's not getting those calls anymore. So do they try to keep the game a little closer in the first half? Is that what NBA referees do? I notice this a lot. Second half comes around, the refs aren't whistle happy calling all these touch fouls left and right. It happens with us. It happens with other teams. Just a little conspiracy theory that DJ Eastwood wanted to throw out there. But yeah, the decision to start DeAnthony Melton turned out to be great because you're adding speed, defense, athleticism to the basketball game. The decision, the shocking decision to play Matisse Thybulle in a basketball game against the most athletic team in the NBA turned out to be a good one. Who could have saw this coming? Who could have saw this? Who? Who sat back and said, hey, maybe, just maybe, against a team that has a bunch of 6'11" athletes, we should play one of the best defenders in the NBA. Just maybe. We should get Matisse Thybulle off the bench. Not only the guy that if you're not going to play him this season, you should have traded him in the offseason. You didn't trade him, and you start the season, Doc Rivers has him glued to the bench. The guy that, everybody said worked on his shot the whole summer, improved his shot. Doc Rivers said it himself. Matisse is the hardest worker this offseason. Nobody's a harder worker than Tyrese Maxey, by the way. But Doc Rivers said it himself. And then for 5 straight games, the kid doesn't play a second. It makes no sense. So finally, I don't know who said it. I don't know if Daryl Morey called up Doc Rivers personally and said, Doc, once again, buddy, you're on the freaking hot seat. Switch it up, improve this defense, or you're out of here. I don't know where the call came from. I have a hard time believing that Doc Rivers randomly did this. But you play Matisse Thybulle out of the blue for 21 minutes. He gives you 6 points on 2 threes. But, more importantly, he gives you 3 rebounds, a steal, and 2 blocks. And it really doesn't even come out on the stat sheet what Matisse Thybulle did for this team last night. And that's why, I used to go on NBA League Pass and watch the game, the condensed version that cuts out all of the dead air or whatever, and you watch every scoring possession, or you watch every possession, but whatever. You don't really get to see all of the little intangibles that happen throughout the game. So I watch the whole game on replay. I try to fast forward the commercials and things like that, because I want to see all the little things. And it doesn't come out on the stat sheet what Matisse Thybulle did for this team last night. Just him on defense made everything more difficult for the Toronto Raptors. His size, his speed, his athleticism, his 7-foot wingspan. I think it's longer than that, actually. I think it's like 7'3" or something crazy. Makes everything difficult. Again, in the 20 minutes that he plays in this game, I don't know if that continues, but in the 20 minutes that he plays, last year in the 10-15 minutes that he plays, you just have to hope that when he's left wide open at the three-point line, he can make the shot at a decent percentage that's going to continue to make the defense respect it, to continue to space the floor. That's it. Other than that, the kid is a phenomenal defender. One of the best in the league. And I also think he's getting better at not over-defending, not jumping, not diving at jump shooters, not jumping over people's backs in the lane. Things like that. I think he's getting better at that too. He doesn't just have to work on the shooting. He has to work on his defensive IQ as far as keeping your feet on the ground, not falling for pump fakes, not diving at three-point shooters in the corner, things like that. But really, if you watch the game and you watched it intently, the switches, the screens, everything defensively, Matisse Thybulle flies. He flies around, and that's the number one reason he should be on the floor. That's the number one reason he should be on the floor. And I said all the things I said about him in the offseason, and it's always offensive things I'm saying about him. But I'm going to even admit that I underrate his defense. I completely underrate his defense, because what you saw in 5 games and then what you saw last night was night and day difference, and it was 100% because of DeAnthony Melton in the starting lineup and Matisse Thybulle being on the floor for 21 minutes. He flies. There's screenshots on Twitter, this has happened for years now, of Matisse Thybulle being like 20 feet away from a shooter, and 1 second later, he has a hand in the guy's face. He rotates faster than maybe anybody I've ever seen in the NBA. He rotates insanely fast on the perimeter. He can hedge a screen, he can double somebody, and he can get back to the wide open man before the wide open man even catches the pass. So yeah, Matisse Thybulle needs to be on the floor. You played him for 15 minutes a game when he was available in the Toronto series last year in the playoffs. You played him 21 minutes tonight, and look, Toronto had 90 points. They missed a lot of shots, but we made a lot of shots difficult by putting him on the floor. 309 people in here. Thanks for being here. Give me 309 likes. And I'm going to get to some comments and some super chats in a second. But I want to talk about Tyrese Maxey first. All right. Carlos, thanks for the super chat. I'm going to do this one, then I'm going to talk about Tyrese Maxey. How about that? Eastwood, salute. I'm curious, but with the plantar injury in offseason, do you think the knee might be more serious than we think? I'm going to leave that up there because I'm going to answer that in a second. But Tyrese Maxey, man. Kid looked incredible last night. And I took notes as I was watching the game, all right? Maxey's first shot was a sign of what was to come in this game. His first shot last night was a sign of what was to come in this game, bro. This was not good offense on that first possession. The shot clock was running down. Maxey catches the ball deep in the corner, smothered, red bar across the top on 2K. You know what I'm saying? Smothered. Do not shoot this. Fade away, hand in his face, swish. Legitimately a Luka Doncic-esque buzzer beater in the corner. That was a sign of what was to come, man. Then Tobias hits him on a skip pass, wide open, free throw. From corner three. Splash. He ain't missing that. Not when he's feeling the way he was feeling last night. Third one was from 27 feet. It's in the first 6 minutes of the game. He's saying, you know what? Screw it, I'm on fire. And he chucks one from 27 feet and splashes it. And the fourth one was a catch and shoot on the right side of the floor. He was all over the place. He had 4 threes in the first 6 minutes of the game. He had 12 points in 6 minutes. I was actually driving on the way to the event I DJ'd last night, listening to it on my phone, happened to, and I'm not advising that you do this, but I happened to check the stats while I was driving, and I was like, Maxey has 12 points in 6 minutes? What's going on here? Yeah, he had 12 points in 6 minutes. What else I got on Maxey? He hits a buzzer beater floater at the end of the first quarter. 6 for 6 from 3 in the first quarter. Then he has 2... he's switching it up then as they start to pursue, as they start to push, as they start to try to get more defense on the outside of the three-point line. Guess what? I'm the fastest guy in the league. Now I'm going to drive past you. Now I'm just going to drive by you guys. He gets a high floater off the glass on the right side. Then he gets a drive to the left. Nice. Finish through contact with the left hand. This is legitimately Kyrie Irving. This is a different form. Not as creative with the ball, obviously, not as good of a ball handler in general, but his finishing ability around the rim, his array of finishes around the rim, high off the glass, through contact, right hand, left hand, English here, up and under, reverse, everything. He's got it. He's got it all. Then when you shield the basket, he's got the floater game. And as he gets more comfortable, he's 21 years old, man. It's crazy. But as he gets more comfortable, he's just going to get better. And he just put up 44 points in an NBA game at 21 years old. That is scary for the NBA. We have a future star. We have a future star. It's just a fact. We have a future star. And it's a good feeling because, we've had this kind of anxiety in the back of our minds this whole Joel Embiid era. Is he ever going to be healthy? Are we ever going to put the right pieces around Joel Embiid to win a championship? Is the window closing? Well, Daryl Morey selecting Tyrese Maxey with the 21st overall pick in the NBA draft a couple of years ago extended our window of hope for about 15 more years, which is great for me. I'm 36. You're telling me I get to watch basketball, I get to watch hope, I get to watch a contender until I'm 51. I'll take that. Man, that's scary when I said that, man. 51? Jesus. Anyway. At halftime, Maxey was 10 for 10, 7 for 7 from 3, 27 points. Just ridiculous. His first miss came with 8 minutes left in the third quarter. Raptors cut it to 6 points. Maxey comes in and immediately ends that run on a personal 5-0 run. No, the 5-0 run was in the fourth quarter. Raptors cut it to 10 in the fourth. Maxey comes in. Tough finish at the rim. And then a just pull-up transition three-pointer. Just dribble down the floor before the defense can get set and let it fly. Just transition three-pointer. 5-0 run. So you cut it to 10. Maxey comes in and says, I got this. 5-0 run. The high floater off the glass and the quick trigger transition three. And then he hits a 28-footer. Again, he's like, you know what? I'm feeling it, and I'm just going to chuck this. And he does that too. What else we got to talk about? All right, some fun facts, okay? Matisse Thybulle's first 3 minutes in this game, 6 points and a block. Again, I don't want to harp on this, but, Doc Rivers, man, this is not rocket science. And I don't understand why in the first 5 games you couldn't at least experiment. Why can't you at least experiment when your team's looking like trash in the first 5 games? Why can't you at least say, let me put Matisse Thybulle on the floor for 10 minutes, see what happens? He just doesn't do it. But he was forced to do it in this game. And Thybulle comes in and has 6 points and a block in the first 3 minutes on the floor. Some more fun facts from my guy, Mr. Crockpot TPL. The Painted Lines on YouTube, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Matisse Thybulle and DeAnthony Melton versus the Raptors last night held opponents to 1 for 8 from the three-point line. They had a combined 6 steals, 6 deflections, and 2 blocks. Fred VanVleet was 0 for 3 from the field when defended by DeAnthony Melton. Gary Trent Jr. was 0 for 1 from the field when defended by Matisse Thybulle. Yeah. You added size, speed, athleticism, and perimeter defense. And shocker, it turned out to be a good decision. Just sucks that we got to force our old dinosaur coach to actually change something up. I'm excited to see what happens if Joel Embiid plays tonight. That's where we're at now. Can you continue this? Can you continue to take advantage of Tyrese Maxey's skill set? Or are we going to see Joel come back in a game? Are we going to see us forcing the ball to Joel in the post, being the slowest team in the NBA, and Maxey standing around with not an actual job description? We will see. Anyway, Carlos, man, thanks for the super chat. Thanks for waiting for me to respond to that. I'm curious, but with the plantar injury in offseason, do you think the knee might be more serious than we think? I don't know. I didn't hear anything about a knee injury the whole offseason. I didn't hear anything about a knee injury through the first 5 games. I didn't hear anything about a knee injury at all until yesterday. So I don't know. How could we know? How could we know if the knee injury is serious or not? I didn't even know there was an injury. And the plantar fasciitis, isn't that something with the feet? What is plantar fasciitis? Plantar fasciitis or plantar heel pain is a disorder of the plantar fascia, which is the connective tissue which supports the arc of the foot. Dr. Eastwood on the money. Nah. Yeah, that's a foot issue. And then the problem with a foot issue in general, the problem with a broken foot, when he had that broken foot for 2 years when he first got in the NBA, the problem with any injury really is that, as soon as you have a part of your body that's not doing its job, you have a part of your body that's not holding up its end of the deal, the other parts of your body try to compensate for that, right? One time is a weird story, but I've sprained my left ankle 8 times, okay? 8 times. 3 times high ankle sprain, swelled up the size of a damn softball. I was running track in high school, and I ran in Pennsylvania districts 2 years in a row with a sprained ankle because I couldn't stop playing basketball. My track coach was always pissed off at me. I told you to stop playing ball during track season. I can't do it. I love the game too much. But anyway, one time I got my back adjusted. I threw my lower back out deadlifting in the gym. Actually, I threw my lower back out. We're not going to talk about why or how. It wasn't that, by the way, if your mind's going there. I threw my lower back out and I went to a chiropractor and I got adjusted. He put my lower back in line, and the next day my left ankle was swelled up. And it was really weird. I was like, what the hell's going on with my ankle? Like swelling in my left ankle, big, because I got my back realigned, you know? And that's what your body's doing. One part of your body's not holding up its end of the deal. The other parts of your body are trying to make up for it. So Joel with a plantar fasciitis, you know, having a heel issue or an arc of the foot issue or whatever, then more force and more attention or more whatever goes to the knee. And yeah, then all of a sudden he has knee issue. He has knee swelling, or he has whatever it was, bro. Whatever it was. Anyway, thanks for the super chat, bro. Colin, you had to go there, bro. I was insinuating, like, never mind, man. That was just weird. Can't believe I read that. Mr. Rudy, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Currently constructed, this team needs Thybulle. I don't think we can really trade this guy unless we get a guy who can have the same defensive impact. Yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. This team lacks exactly what Matisse Thybulle is. And yeah, if you trade him, you don't have it at all. You don't even have it as an option. You know, you go 1-4 the first 5 games because of your lack of athleticism and defense and perimeter defense, and then you have the option. Oh yeah, I should probably maybe play Matisse Thybulle, who has all of those things that we're struggling with. And if you trade him, you don't have that option. So you're right about that. I completely agree with that. I just don't know why. Don't know why he hasn't gotten the minutes in the first 5 games. Don't know why it took Doc this long to figure that out. And I guess I have hope. For Matisse Thybulle. Because, you know, he almost hit 3 threes in a row. The bench was ready to go crazy on his 3rd attempt that rimmed out. And said it for like years now, man. I was just watching Ben Simmons highlights. Somebody posted, you know, this is what he used to look like. And one play specifically, you know, he runs the floor and throws a lob to Matisse Thybulle. And I was like, damn, how long has Matisse been on this team? It doesn't feel like as long as it is, I guess, or has been. So the athleticism's there, of course. It's off the charts. The perimeter defense is there. I think he's even getting better at not over-pursuing and not jumping on people's heads, getting dumb foul calls on jump shooters. And there's hope that he can be a decent three-point shooter. That's all he needs to do. All you need is to hope that when he's left wide open, he can hit a shot at a decent percentage. 2 of 5, 40% in this game. So, you know, never knew you hooped like that. Oh, bruh, back in the day, that's all I did. That's all I did. I grew up doing nothing but playing basketball every single day I could, especially in the summer because, you know, I lived down the street from a classic outdoor court in my hometown, and it was called Heritage Park. It's still there. I actually played there twice this summer. A little bit different at 36 years old than at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So it's depressing that my speed and athleticism is completely gone. But, yeah, I'm known as a heritage legend in this town, just so you know. Yeah, I played balls all the time, man. You know, that's why. Are you obsessed with something that you don't do? You know what I mean? Would somebody have a race car channel if they didn't enjoy racing cars? Hey, listen, there is a video on YouTube. It's called Can DJ Eastwood Shoot? All right? Go search that up. It's there. It's called Can DJ Eastwood Shoot? And yeah, I was dropping threes from Curry range, bro. Come on, man. Look how white I am. Look at how white my skin is. You think I can't shoot? Oh, man. What else we got to talk about, man? I guess I'll just hang out and read the chat, man. Throw some comments, questions out there, and we'll hang out for a couple minutes, and then I'll get up out of here and you know, go about my day and wait for the... I'm mad that the Bulls game is 8 o'clock. I wanted it to be 7 o'clock because, again, I got a Halloween party to DJ later, and I set up at like 9:15, so it's nice when the game starts at like 7 and I get, I can kind of watch the whole game before I had to leave. But Kyle Eastwood, I like that, bro. I like that a lot. Kyle Korver, man. Kyle Korver, man. That was my era. That was the end of the Iverson era. They drafted Iguodala. They drafted Kyle Korver, and we got those couple of years of Iverson, of old school, past his prime Allen Iverson, just passing the ball to Andre Iguodala and Kyle Korver. That was a fun team. They didn't stand a chance at really winning anything, but that was a fun team. Was I a trash talker? Yeah, I used to pull from like 30 feet and talk shit to people, and sometimes one of my favorite things was showing up to a court where people didn't know me. Because I feel like I was shooting from beyond NBA range before it was cool. So people didn't know, now kids are jacking 40-foot jumpers left and right because of Steph Curry. But yeah, I used to pull from very deep, and I remember plenty of times where I would catch the ball on the wing like 8 feet behind the 3-point line, and somebody would say, Why are you way back there? And then splash it, and they're like, oh. I was in Lebanon, PA one time, and pulled a shot from deep, and I heard this dude, as I shot it, said, that's too far. And I, splash. And I was like, not for me, bro. That ain't too far from me. You better recognize. That's why I've been trying to get back into it recently, though, because, my athleticism's not there anymore. I was a little ball handler, too. I was the quickest dude on the court. That's not there anymore, but your jump shot never goes away. So I feel like I can play until I'm 80 years old because I'll always have a jump shot. There's a super chat somewhere. D, what's up? You think Doc will abolish his pecking order mentality after last night's team-centric performance? I doubt it. Yeah, that's a great question, D, and I doubt it also. And, plenty of people have said it to me already that there shouldn't be a pecking order. That should not be a thing in today's NBA. Watch any successful team in today's NBA. The Boston Celtics, great example. When Tatum's having an off night, Jaylen Brown is the number one option. If they're both having off nights, I don't know what they do. They probably lose. But either way, there's not a number one specifically or a number two. Golden State Warriors, obviously Steph Curry's number one by default. But if he's having an off night, guess what? Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Memphis Grizzlies, obviously Ja Morant is the main ball handler on the team. But you got Desmond Bane. You got I can never think of the other guy's name, man. You got a lot of scorers on that team. A lot of shooters, a lot of guards and wings, and yeah, there's not necessarily a pecking order. Guess what? It's a team game. Play 5-on-5. Play defense, rebound, find the open shooter, and win the game. You know? I used to notice that really in pickup games when I was younger too, is that, and Jimmy Butler said it. I never forgot this actually. Jimmy Butler said it when Miami beat us last year in the playoffs. He said scoring will always go up and down. Makes and misses, you can't control it. If we focus on defense and rebounding, we will win the game. If we focus on defense and rebounding, we will win the game. Dylan Brooks, George, thank you for that. I can never think of that guy's name. He's nice. I like him. Yeah, and I remember that just playing basketball growing up, man. Anytime, I kind of told my team, hey, let's lock down on defense and let's grab rebounds. And on the offensive side of the ball, just screen, move the ball, and find the open shooter. So, yeah, you don't need a pecking order. You need to focus on defense and rebounding. We focused on defense and rebounding last night. Sorry, I feel like I'm doing this after the game. And look, we hold Toronto to 90 points. 90. Game charts. Let's see. They out-rebounded us just because they're the Toronto Raptors, but it was close. It wasn't a complete, demolition. They had 45, we had 41. We had more assists than them, and that's an assist-heavy team. I feel like they had 50 assists in Wednesday night's game. That's an assist-heavy team because there's not a pecking order. They share the ball. We had 25 assists to their 20. We had 11 steals to their 9 steals. We had 6 blocks to their 5 blocks. We had 14 turnovers. They had 17. We shot 42% from 3. They shot 23. We shot 52 from the field. They shot 38. We had 44 points in the paint. They had 38. Our second chance points were pretty even. They had 15. We had 11. Our fast break points. That's a great way to define what happened in this game when you add speed and defense to the game. Our fast break points, we had 15. They had 16. So that's a huge improvement over, what we were doing in the first 5 games. And now we sit back and watch. Does this continue? Does this continue? What do you guys think, man? I guess if anybody wants to call, we'll open up the phone line. Let me hit this app real quick and we'll open up the phone line because I got a question that I want you guys to answer. All right. Host a meeting. That's what we want to do. Join with computer audio. Join me. Now my mic probably went crazy, didn't it? Did my mic go crazy? Oh, yeah, it did. Yeah, it definitely did. Happens every time with this app for some reason. I open this app and it sends my microphone to 1,000%. All right, there we go. Yeah, there you go. Phone line's open because I want to ask you guys 2 things. Do you expect, and I guess I'm going to ask you all in the chat and on the phone line if you want to call in, do you think Doc will abolish his pecking order? D, that's going to be the question, man. Do you think Doc will abolish his pecking order mentality after last night's team-centric performance? And also, a more bold question. Is this team better without Joel Embiid? Yes or no, and why? In the chat or on the phone line, is this team flat out better without Joel Embiid? Yes or no, and why? Opeth says no. I mean, with what Joel Embiid looks like so far this season defensively, but overall the skill set of Joel Embiid, obviously, you're better with Joel Embiid. But it's hard to imagine now. How do you play the game? Joel was an runner-up MVP 2 years in a row because Joel was runner-up MVP 2 years in a row because we forced the ball to him on the block every single game. Every single game, we forced the ball to him on the block. So yeah, that equated to him being runner-up MVP. Did that equate to us playing better basketball as a team? Yam's not a popular opinion, but yes, because it's not 1996. Eee! Bold. Robert R. Riley says yes. San 8 says, let's see in the playoffs. You will find out the answer real quick. Kind of think they might be better without Harden. Nah, I can't go that way. I can't go that way at all. The reason Tyrese Maxey was so free-flowing in this game is because Toronto was double-teaming James Harden every time he touched the ball. Joel's Harden's stats don't show it, and he didn't have a good game, and he doesn't play well against Toronto. But just the way that he draws the defensive attention, not like this, but trade Embiid for a haul. Mr. Rudy, this is a good response right here. Joel needs to play with guys who are fast. No more Tobias, Harden, PJ, and Niang lineups. Listen, Romp has been saying for like weeks now, months now, actually years now probably, but this season specifically that Tobias Harris doesn't fit. And you're right. You need fast. I've been saying this Joel Embiid's whole career, man. You need combo guards who can dribble, drive, and shoot on the perimeter outside of Joel. Yeah. Tobias is not that. I love what PJ did in this game. I love what PJ does in the NBA. But yeah, you got to use him strategically and probably not 40 minutes. George Niang, he's good for a 3 here and there, but what else is there? And does it outweigh his defensive deficiencies? No, I don't think it does, man. Maxey lineups without Harden was a plus 20. Yeah, in this game, let's see what that looks like over the course of, a long time. All right, we got 4 callers on the line, man. Let's get to it, man. Darius, what's up? Man? Doing good, man. Doing good. Hanging out.
To the playoffs, we know everything is gonna slow down. So it kind of makes sense to run the offense through him at that point. But there also has to be a balance. I think in the fourth quarter, you got to kind of go away from that and run the offense through the guards, Harden and Maxey, and maybe Melton, if he's out there during that time. So I don't know. I think it's kind of a mixture of both, and Doc has to find a balance. Like he can't just let Embiid have the ball every time down the court and just slow everybody down because everybody tends to watch him and fall asleep. So that's kind of, what I think about it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Number one, I think the whole game slows down in the playoffs. Does it really? I guess it does. That's like a common narrative, but I think there's more fast break points in the playoffs. I think
it depends on the opponent. Like I think it kind of depends.
Yeah, and I think ticky-tack foul calls slow down in the playoffs too. I think.
True.
I don't think the numbers back that up either. But also the strategy there of having be able to do something different in the fourth quarter than the rest of the game, and sounds like a lot for Doc Rivers if you ask me. I don't know. I don't see him being that creative.
Yeah, he has, and I just don't understand. I don't know what he's talking about to Dave Yeager or Sam Cassell. I don't know if they're just talking about what they're going to have for dinner later on that night, but there's no reason why those three NBA minds, like basketball minds, should not be able to create like a game plan that is successful for everybody. Like I don't get it.
Well,
it drives me insane. Like
I think not just Doc has a pecking order mindset as far as the basketball team goes. I think he has a pecking order mindset as far as coaching goes too, man. Just the way that the guy talks and comes off, I imagine he's not very open minded in a group setting, and he probably doesn't listen to what anybody says. I'm dead serious.
Yeah, that could be definitely something that's going on because it just doesn't compute as to how they look so good last night. Because last night they looked almost seamless. Like everything was flowing right, everything looked good. But then I don't know if Embiid's playing tonight. I think he is. We're gonna see how this goes. Like you said, we'll see if it's a continuation from last night. If everybody's gonna be able to be involved. But I honestly, I'm not optimistic. Plus, I'll be watching the fields on a big screen, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna be checking. Checking the Sixers out.
It's tough. Yeah. I was DJing a party last night watching the Phillies game. I couldn't even I was just playing songs watching the Phillies game. I can't do it. I can't do it.
It was crazy because I don't want to deviate too much, but the fields were down like 0-5, and everybody on Twitter was blowing up. Like I'm turning the game off, and I'm like, what are you like? Come on, man! Like you can't just give up third inning. They're down 0-5. Like they got plenty of time to get.
That's how Twitter goes, man. That's how Twitter goes. You go down by 5 in the first quarter in a playoff game. They're like, "Oh, Sixers suck. I'm turning this off." Like it doesn't. That's how Twitter is. Yo, Darius, thanks for calling, my man.
Yeah, it's great.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks, man. Take it easy.
Later. Ultra negative Twitter, not a shock to anybody. But yeah, I mean, interesting point. Do you still run the game through Joel and then switch it up throughout the game and then in the fourth quarter try to be quicker and run from the perimeter? Or do you run from the perimeter and just let Joel Embiid, do his thing and get shots when he gets them, but not be the number one option on the offensive end? Which would also, manage him throughout the game and manage his fatigue levels and for his defense, because you need his defense. We're allowing 70% at the rim, which is insane. We need Joel to play better defense. VR Heem, what's up, man?
What's going on, Eastwood? What's happening, man?
Chilling. What's up?
I have a couple of things. One, I feel like everybody is just like turning on Joel Embiid like so quick. Like this is crazy right now. Like this is insane. Like Joel Embiid has been here like through the entire process, and without him, we would honestly be like I don't know, the Kings or some shit. But anyway, I just wanted to say one, I don't think the problem is necessarily that Joel Embiid or we're not good when Joel Embiid is on the floor. I think it's just because Doc Rivers is so like hard-nosed and not like stuck in his ways, he doesn't understand that Joel Embiid is a 7-foot, 300-pound center. He should not have the ball in his hands that much. He just shouldn't. There's no reason. We have two amazing guards, some of the best guards in the league, and he has the ball in his hands way too much, in my opinion. And then also, I think really quick, sorry. I think we should just do it so that it's more that Joel Embiid isn't the offense, but he's a part of the offense, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's kind of exactly what I'm saying. That's kind of exactly what I'm saying, man. Is that he needs to be a part of the offense. You need him to just get shots when he gets them, and not have it be like a big time focus. To force him the ball the whole game. I think that's definitely what needs to happen. His usage rate in the first game, coming off of plantar fasciitis, was 38%. Why, if you knew, if you knew he wasn't even 100%, why would he be a 38% usage rate and Harden was 22 and Maxey was 20? That doesn't make any sense at all. So yeah, I think you're right, man. I'm not going against Joel Embiid. I know you're talking about the extremists on Twitter and things like that who are saying trade him right now and all this stuff. Yeah, it's ridiculous after one game, but I definitely think the offensive strategy needs to switch up, and you're absolutely right. In today's game, a 7-footer has the ball in his hands way too much, man. I agree with you.
Yeah, and on the other question, I honestly do not think Doc is ever going to change the ways. It actually sucks, and it makes me like super like sad to know that I'm going to have to watch this for another what's his contract? Another 3 years?
3 years.
It's like it's like it's super sad to know that we're never going to win with him. But listen, man, it is what it is. That's all I have for today.
I think he'll eventually get fired this season. I really think that. Yeah,
I
thanks.
hope so.
Thanks for the call, my man.
Nope.
VR Heem, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for calling, man. Good caller always, man. From the 616, what's going on?
Eastwood, what up, man?
What's up, man? Is your name Rob?
Nah, this Rasan. Rasan, man.
Oh, Rasan, what's up, man?
Harden fan.
I got you, Rasan. Yeah, man, what's up?
Yeah, just here to talk about some of the takeaways that I had from the game yesterday. Well, first of all, I definitely think that Doc, he needs to go. Like, it's kind of irritating me. Like, I'm stuck in between, like, being happy we're winning and just wanting us to lose to get Doc out of here, because I really feel like Doc, he's going to, like, be the downfall of our team later in the season. Like, just how you said he doesn't make adjustments, how he couldn't see to play Matisse. You know, he played Shake, and to me, Shake didn't even do too bad for the time that he's seen the floor. You know what I'm saying? And these are just things that, as a coach, I feel like you got to pick up on in order for us to really get to where we're trying to go. That's the coach's job to see.
Yeah, I agree with that. I didn't even talk about the fact that he played Shake Milton in this game. That's interesting too, man. Like, you know, I agree, and I said that in the offseason. I said, you know, this team can look however it's going to look. If I was a betting man, they're going to come up short, and it's probably going to be because of the decision making of Doc Rivers, his rotations, and his stubbornness. So we'll see. I agree.
Exactly, man. Like, it's just little stuff that we can all see as fans that the coach should be able to see. And I also wanted to say I didn't agree with Romp's take. Just watching Trez yesterday, I watched Trez every single second he was on the floor. Honestly, I feel like Trez, of course, he's not going to lock down every center in the league or whatnot. There's going to be teams where, you need to take Trez out. But I feel like for the most part, Trez can really hold his own. Like, just the way that Romp was kind of just painting it, like he's just a horrible defender, can't guard anybody, a soul. Like, that I don't think is true. Trez, he was out there showing a lot of effort yesterday, getting tip balls, deflections, helping on the right time, jumping back. You know, he showed some really good things. But honestly, with a lot of these players, man, you can't, like, just throw somebody out there for one game or a couple games for 5 minutes and then be like, oh, yeah, they suck. Like, most of these guys have to get used to this new system, the new teammates, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Once they acclimate themselves, I feel like they'll be better. But Doc has to do a better job at just getting them out on the floor long enough to get some of that continuity.
Hey, I like the take, Rasan. Thanks for the call, man. I like the take. I appreciate it. Look, Montrez against Toronto. Yeah, he gave a lot more. It seemed like a lot more effort. It seemed like he was just kind of hustling and fighting a little bit more. But I mean, it's not wrong to say that he's a bad defender, because statistically, he's a bad defender. Over the course of his career, he's a bad defender. The problem isn't necessarily against Toronto, who doesn't have a prototypical center on the floor. You know, the problem is when you play Montrez against teams like the Celtics and the Bucks. When Doc was riding Montrez in LA against the Clippers, or against the Warriors, or the Nuggets, Western Conference Finals against the Nuggets. and Montrez was getting abused by Nikola Jokic, I don't think he can guard centers. So, I definitely didn't hate him being in this game and what he did in this game, although I still like to see Paul Reed, I thought Doc switched it up a little bit, but, I'd still like to see Paul Reed in the game for half of those minutes. We'll see what it looks like when Doc plays Montrez for 15 minutes against the Milwaukee Bucks again or the Boston Celtics. So, but thanks for the call, VR. Caller on the line, Michael. Is this Michael?
Yeah, that's Mike. How you doing? Long time caller, first time caller, long time listener.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for calling in. What's up?
Yeah, man. I just wanted to say, I had to call because I'm reading the comments and everyone's saying trade Joel Embiid for a big package, and I just wanted to remind people who we're talking about. We're not talking about a regular player. We're talking about a two-time. He was a scoring champion. Debatably should have been MVP 2 years in a row. And I just want to remind people that he's the best player we had since Allen Iverson, and we got lucky drafting him. If he wasn't hurt in college, we wouldn't have got him. We wouldn't have gotten him. We would have drafted Andrew Wiggins, and Andrew Wiggins is not even close to Joel Embiid.
No.
The only problem with Joel Embiid is he's hurt all the time. But when he's healthy, he's the most dominant basketball player in the NBA. There's only one player I'll put above him, and that's the Greek Freak. Other than that, there's nobody in the NBA. I put him above Durant. I put him above everybody. And when we was playing in the playoffs against the Miami Heat, and we were down 2 games, everybody was like, oh, we need Joel Embiid back. When we got down 0-2 and we came back, the energy changed. We was 0-2. Maxey and James Harden couldn't do anything. And I'm not hating on James Harden, and I'm not hating on Maxey because I love both of them. But the energy changed. The series changed when we had the best dominant big man in the game. And if we had him the whole series, and if he was healthy, we would have at least got to the Eastern Conference Finals. And we probably would have won the finals. Who knows? But I just want to remind people, we're not just talking about an average basketball player. We're talking about the most dominant force when healthy. That's the problem, when healthy.
Yep.
And it's the biggest problem is Doc Rivers' coaching. Not putting Matisse Thybulle in. It took him this long to put Matisse Thybulle in. It's the ball movement. I do agree. I think the ball needs to move around.
Mm-hmm.
I think there needs to be a first option and a second option and a third option, but the ball has to move around. It can't just be post up Joel Embiid gets double team, turns the ball over, or it slows the offense down too much. I mean, sometimes when we're in the playoffs and we run that half court offense, it's good. But the ball has to move around. And I always go back to the Spurs. The Spurs had debatably the most dominant power forward / center, Tim Duncan, and the ball movement was just the best. It was a boring way to play the game, but the ball movement was so freaking special.
Yep.
And we could somehow have a better ball movement, and we can have and Doc Rivers puts the right players in at the right time. That's the problem.
Yep.
Rebounding, hustling, Joel Embiid getting healthy, and there's no one that's going to stop us. But I feel like people need to hold their horses on trading Joel Embiid. That's nonsense, in my opinion. That's crazy talk.
I agree with that.
Maxey and James Harden couldn't do nothing against Miami Heat. So I just want people to hold their horses on trading Joel Embiid, because if we trade Joel Embiid, it's going to haunt us. I'm just telling you that right now. We're not winning.
I don't think they're going to trade
I just wanted to get that off my chest. I just wanted to get that off my chest real quick.
I appreciate you, Mike. Hey, thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate it.
All right.
Good call, man. Great caller. W's in the chat from Mike. W's in the chat from Mike. Yeah, good caller, man. And I agree with basically everything he said. The one thing I do want to respond to is I really, really like the Spurs comparison, because how do you use, and even though that was in the late 90s, early 2000s, how do you use a dominant center and win? How do you have a dominant center be your number one option or best player on the floor and have a winning offense? And yeah, it's moving the ball. It's keeping a decent pace. But if you really look at the way Tim Duncan played the game, first of all, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, you had Bruce Bowen, don't forget about Bruce Bowen, everybody, who you want Matisse Thybulle to be. A lockdown defender who can catch and shoot at 40%. Bruce Bowen. That team had everything was perfectly constructed around Tim Duncan. Everything. You know, all of the pieces work together perfectly. Tony Parker being the great three-point shooter, but pick and roll facilitating point guard. Manu Ginobili, I guess you could look at you could go Tony Parker, James Harden. You could go Manu Ginobili, Tyrese Maxey. Not the same type of players whatsoever. I'm just saying as far as their role on the team fitting around Tim Duncan. You could go Manu Ginobili, Tyrese Maxey. Maybe you can get a Bruce Bowen out of Matisse Thybulle. But yeah, everything has to be constructed correctly around the center, and the game plan has to make sense. The biggest difference in that comparison is Doc Rivers and Greg Popovich, who Doc Rivers thinks he is, and he's not even in the same stratosphere at all. So, you know, but I like the take, man. Caller from Haddon Heights, New Jersey. What's going on?
Yo, it's Andrew. I'm a first-time caller, long-time listener. I had a couple points.
Yeah, man.
The main one is, I didn't see the game last night. So when it comes to Sixers, the games I've seen, it's been too much iso ball. I think that's the main thing. I think iso ball doesn't work in the NBA. I think we've seen it plenty of times again. I don't think we're passing enough. I don't think we're looking for the right shots. I think we're kind of forcing it too much. Doesn't look like the team is energized behind our head coach or anything like that. And the reason I didn't see that was because, I'm a big Eagles fan, big Sixer fan, but the most important team in Philly right now is the Phillies to me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And what did they do earlier in the season? We had a certified, many would view Hall of Fame head coach in Joe Girardi, won it before, hadn't had success in a little while. We bring him in to save us, to bring us where we want to be, because the Phillies have been stuck in this mediocrity with some of the best players in Harper, JT, etc. We fire him. Everyone questions us. Rob Thompson, no one knows who he is for 56 years. That's my coach right there. That's coach of the year. The team loves him. The fans love him. Everyone loves him. We went on the only team with a better win-loss record than us in the second half of baseball, I believe, was the Yankees.
Yep. It's
an
on the money.
There.
It's an on the money comparison, and I've made the comparison before. Joe Girardi won a World Series with a very overpowered New York Yankees team, right? Derek Jeter, Alex Rodriguez, Gary Sheffield, CC Sabathia, Mariano Rivera was still closing games. That team was insane.
Yep.
And that was his only ring. Doc Rivers won a championship in Boston with 4 Hall of Famers. Same way they got the ring, same way they got the ego.
And they were both given it. They didn't build the team either.
That too, yeah. So they fire him for, a more inexperienced, a little more open-minded coach who immediately played the younger players, immediately put Bryson Stott in the game, immediately started to try things with younger guys. Yeah, it's
Bryson Stott immediately stepped up. He immediately stepped up, and he's been killing it. Alec Bohm killing it. Everyone.
Doc Rivers was out with COVID for 4 games last year. Dan Burke got an 18-point game out of Isaiah Joe. He got 11 points out of Isaiah Joe the next game. He got 12 rebounds and 5 blocks.
We have so much young talent. We just refuse to use it under Doc. The only reason Maxey got time was because of Ben Simmons. He was forced. His hand was forced.
Yep,
he didn't want Maxey to play. He's too young for him. He's not 28 years old.
You're absolutely right, man.
But, you look at Philadelphia sports right now, all of them. The Flyers are winning because of their amazing head coach. The Eagles, I haven't even said anything, but I want to touch on them. The Eagles are so scary and legit, I think, this year because we've beaten teams in a different game plan almost every week. Our coaching is great this year for the most part.
Yep.
They've had hiccups, granted. But every Philly team right now is winning because of coaching. The Sixers are losing because of coaching.
Absolutely.
And something needs to be done.
I agree with you, Andrew. Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate you. Yeah, it's a good comparison. And, Rob Thompson came in and started playing younger guys. And like I said, Doc was out with 4 4 days with COVID last year, 4 games, and Dan Burke got an 18-point game out of Isaiah Joe. He got 11 points the next night, back-to-back. He got a 12-rebound, 5-block game out of Charles Bassey against Nikola Jokic. And then Doc Rivers came back. You didn't see either of those guys again, really. And eventually they got cut from the team. So, yeah, Doc Rivers is not getting – he doesn't develop players. He does not coach up. He doesn't find a diamond in the rough. He doesn't give anybody a chance that isn't already known to be productive. If DeAnthony Melton didn't do what he did last year in Memphis – as far as his per 36 numbers, 8 rebounds a game for somebody who's 6'2" is crazy. 2 steals a game per 36, 37% from 3 per 36 on 8 attempts per game. If he didn't do that in Memphis, Doc Rivers wouldn't know who the hell he was right now, and he wouldn't play the guy. So yeah, I agree with that. And by the way, people that got timed out in the chat, it's because you guys have been arguing back and forth the entire show, and the whole chat is just you two arguing. So that's why I timed you out for 5 minutes. That's annoying. Please don't do that. Anyway, back to the phones, man. Jones on the phone. Is it Jones?
Doc Rivers wouldn't know who the hell he was right now.
Yo, what's going on, man?
Yo, what's up?
How's it going, man? What's your name?
I'm good.
What's your name? Jones, where'd you go? The womp womp music. Jones disappeared. I don't know what happened, man. Tania Dolo on the phones.
Yo, what's going on?
Oh, what's going on? This is Tone.
Tone, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good.
I'm watching, watching the live chat. Real quick, just to respond to some of your, I guess, gripes with Doc Rivers. You say he don't develop players, right?
Yeah.
What about SGA?
SGA?
Did he not develop SGA to who he is?
No.
No?
SGA is in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, he was with the Clippers first before he got traded.
Yeah, he was. He was a high draft pick too, was he not?
Yeah, he was. I mean, yes, he was, but
Yeah, I think
his hand wasn't necessary force.
I put SGA on the same level that I put Tyrese Maxey, who I feel like shouldn't have fallen to number 21. I think he's incredibly talented, and I think you know the kind of kid. I didn't watch SGA intently, obviously, over his career, but if I compare him to Tyrese Maxey, it doesn't matter who the coach is. Tyrese was going to develop how he developed because of the work that he puts in. So I would just say that
absolutely right.
SGA,
You're right.
SGA
You're
is
absolutely right.
Yeah, SGA is a
You're
great.
right about that one.
SGA is a great talent, and I think I can't give that credit to Doc Rivers. I think he's just a great talent, and he's going to develop no matter what. That's me also refusing to give Doc Rivers credit for anything because I can't stand him.
Well, see, so that's my point. I just want to say, especially for just like Phillies fans, Sixers fans.
Mo Bamba in the chat just said SGA wasn't getting minutes until he got traded.
It's like instantly we always ready to fire the coach, get rid of the coach. And, I mean, it wasn't really Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers said it was Sam Cassell who really helped out with SGA development. But also, I'm just making, various points. Rondo best years were in Boston. Boston. Would you agree?
Yeah. 21-year-old absolute magician with the basketball who had 3 Hall of Famers to pass the ball to. But Rajon Rondo was legitimately Pistol Pete in a new era. He was amazing. There was a chimpanzee could have been the coach, and Rajon Rondo was gonna. He has a game where he had 0 points and 27 assists. Yeah, that's not Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
That's Rajon Rondo being amazing.
True. I'm just saying, but these are point guards, young players under Doc Rivers. But I just want to say to the point of what you stated, is the team better without Embiid? No, the style of play should change. I don't know how Joel feels about doing more pick and rolls, and I feel like we're about the same age. So, and I've been watching, your lives for several seasons now. So I'm a big fan of your take. I think
Appreciate you, man. Thank
probably
you.
some of the best Sixers takes. A little over the top sometimes, but
Never. Always on the money. Always right. Never been wrong.
But because I remember you saying, what's the last coach we had? Brown. You just made a comparison how the Spurs and it was a '90s basketball and how Joel is the could be like Duncan or whatever the case is. But you Dookie emoji to try to keep it clean. Dookie emoji on Brett Brown on him trying to play bully ball as if it was the Spurs and he's trying to be Doc Rivers, not Doc Rivers, but Popovich and so just I don't know if you remember that. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't know. You don't know if I remember slandering Brett Brown. I did it for 3 years straight. Yeah, that's literally one of the main reasons my channel went from like 1K to 10K in 1 year because of that. Yeah, I definitely remember ripping into Brett Brown. He's not a good basketball coach. He didn't get a single head coaching interview after the Sixers fired him. He's now Greg Popovich's assistant again.
Assistant. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I don't know what's going on over there, but yeah. To my point, I don't know. I've always been wanting to see Embiid play with two scoring guards. I really hated when we traded for Ben Simmons, but he was the best talent in that draft that year, I guess. But now that we have it, we have to find out a way to move away from, post up offense basketball. I mean, I'm trying to think of a way that way Embiid can be the he don't have to be the number one option, but he can still be the biggest threat on the floor. I feel like that's how they play with Jokic. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
It's not like Jokic.
Yeah, Jokic.
What you think?
Yeah. I agree with you, Tone. Hey, I got to get to some more callers, but I definitely appreciate you calling, man. Thanks for being a listener of the show. W's or L's in the chat for that call? I gotta be honest with you, Tone, man. You were just basically calling and trying to be against everything I say, and you didn't really give any. You didn't really give any facts. You said we always want to fire the coach. Yeah, I mean 3 seasons. I'm ready to fire him. We hired him literally because nobody could get Ben Simmons to shoot the ball. That's why you fired Brett. That's why you brought in Doc. I remember the whole narrative going into that season. He comes in day one and says, I don't care if Ben shoots. Yeah, I wanted to fire him right away because that's why we need somebody that's going to make this dude shoot. And you're going to come in day one and say that? Yeah, get him out of here. Give me somebody else. You're absolutely right. I wanted to fire him day one. For you to go and say I dookied on Brett Brown, and then what? Yes, I dookied on Brett Brown. He's terrible. He's terrible. You didn't even finish that statement. You dookied on Brett Brown. And then what? What did he do? Did he go on to be an NBA head coach and win a championship? No, he's not even a head coach anymore. He's an assistant. He's back to making coffee for Greg Popovich. I respect you, and you're allowed to have your opinions, but what you just did is you called into the show and you told me I'm right 3 times in a row. Last caller, man, and then I'm getting up out of here. Dan on the line. What's up, Dan?
Hey, DJ, man. How you doing, man?
Doing great. What's up?
Oh, hey. I was, first of all, I want to say this. fire Glenn Rivers. He's not Doc. Hey, everybody, all your audience, don't let them call him Doc no more. There's only one Doc in Philadelphia. That was Dr. J.
I got you. It's
I
Glenn.
wanted to ask you something, and then I'm gonna hang up and listen to you on it off the air. Do you think that Tyrese Maxey is better on ball, and James Harden should be off ball? Should Maxey just be running the whole team like he did yesterday? Because Maxey played up pace, up tempo. Tell me what you think about that, and let Harden play off ball.
Yeah, it's a good question, Dan. And thanks for the call, man. I appreciate you. Man, that's tough, man. I don't think either way. I don't think it's going to happen. James Harden's style of play is obviously ball dominant. He needs the ball in his hands to be effective. He averaged 10.2 assists a game last season by having the ball in his hands and running pick and rolls and making the defense move and finding the open guy. But you're also correct about Tyrese Maxey, man. Most of his points last night came from him initiating his own shot. But I still think Tyrese Maxey's style of play can feed off of James Harden being the guy with the ball in his hands the most, because Maxey's just a straight-up scorer. He had a very nice skip pass last night over to PJ Tucker in the corner. And I love when I see Tyrese Maxey make those point guard type of plays. But I still think he's a 100% scorer. And you guys are arguing in the chat again, bro. Oh my God, bro. Nobody wants to come into the show and just see this constant argument between two people, man. That's crazy. That's crazy annoying. I think Maxey's a straight-up scorer, and he can still feed off of James Harden being the ball-dominant player. The problem, the reason I don't think you should go Maxey handling the ball more is because I don't think James Harden would be a great off-ball player. I think his whole game comes from having the ball in his hands. So that's the reason I say that. But either way, if this coaching staff can figure it out, we can be really good, Like Doc Rivers said, in the perspective of him not being a coach, because that's how he talks about the team, this offense could be great if they just played right. Doc doesn't realize that he's the guy that has to get them to play right. This offense could be really good if the coaching staff could figure out how to get them to play right, is what Doc Rivers should have said. What's up, Mike? Philly Talk Podcast. Shout out to you, man. Maxey's usage is the problem when Embiid and Harden are together. I agree. You got two guys that are dominating the ball, and then Maxey's over here at an 18, 19, 20% usage rate. And, yeah, that's the formula for this team right now. That's the equation for this coaching staff to figure out. How do you use James Harden and Joel Embiid together and also try to get the most out of Tyrese Maxey? That's the number one thing they got to figure out right now, and we're gonna see if they figure it out, man. Addison Scott, what's up? I think Doc will ruin this team this year for good. We need to move on ASAP. I agree, man. And you have the talent now. You have the talent. You have 3 all-star level players, period. Point blank, period. You have 3 all-stars. If you can keep those 3 all-stars together for a couple years and get a coach who can get the most out of the team and who can really make it work, there's a championship level team. I have no faith in Doc Rivers. I'm still kind of blown away that somebody called in as a Doc Rivers defender. But you never know what you're going to get on Running Back Philly. But anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, man. This was fun. We're going to do it again tomorrow. I'm going to try to do it earlier so, it's a decent amount of time before the Eagles game at 4 o'clock. Tomorrow I'll do my best to actually get out of bed before 10 a.m., watch the Bulls-Sixers game, do a show at 12. We'll see if that works out. But yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thanks for coming through. Hit the like button on your way out. Thank you for all the supporters. Gerard Smith, newest member. Les Brown, newest subscriber. DVW, $5 super chat. And Lil Boy Blue 3000 still run it back MVP with a $10 super chat. I appreciate everybody.